I got into such a crazy funk and depression because I literally changed my entire life, and I have a family that I have to support. I have a wife and my business partner, and it was just, I left my
the leap
job.
of faith.
Yeah, exactly. We literally just went to a brewery one night and we're like, dude, let's just talk one-on-one and figure this out. Like, are we actually going to do this? And if so, how are we going to make this work?
In this episode, my friend Jordee Wester joins me. We discuss the uncertainty of entrepreneurship and the faith required in making an independent income, especially when others depend on you. He's a talented, hardworking guy that demonstrates what grit and determination look like. He's already a success in many ways, and I'm confident that'll only grow in time. I hope you enjoy the episode. So this is Jordee. What's up, man?
What's up, bro? I just met you today, so I don't...
Yeah, this is my buddy. He's doing something quite ambitious.
Yes.
Called...
very ambitious.
You've been working on it for a long time. It's called The Bunkhouse. And it's a big film studio. How would you define it? How would you...
Yeah, I would say film studio first. That's like what I have in my mind because that's what I am. I'm a filmmaker. So I'm pursuing this thing as a film studio. It'll be used for photography purposes too, but first and foremost film. That's what my business partner and I do is film. So that's what we're doing.
And so that's actually how I got in contact with you over the years.
Yeah.
Because you've done work for me, you've done videos for me. And so you're doing this bunkhouse thing. It's like this big 10,000 square foot warehouse.
Just about 10,000 square feet.
And so you've got a bunch of different sets in there that'll be available to be rented out type of thing, other people to film at and utilize. And there's not a lot of places, I don't know if there's anywhere open to the public.
No, not
like that here.
Not at the level we're trying to do it because locally, film is pretty big in New Mexico. A lot of productions come here to
Netflix,
the state. Exactly. You got Netflix studios. You have I-25 studios. You have a lot of these bigger studios, which are great. But for us as independent filmmakers, they're untouchable. Like we'll never be able to shoot there. And besides that, there's a lot of other smaller studios in town that I've shot at pretty much all of them, and they're great. Like there's some green screen studios, and there's just some other beautiful rooms that you can go and shoot in, but that's pretty much...
It's not so much an all-in-one.
Exactly. That's pretty much all it is. It's just one room, one aesthetic that you can get. So there's really like no in-between. So you either have to like constantly try to find locations to go shoot at, and it's tough. That's like one of the big hurdles in filmmaking is like, okay, where are we going to shoot this? How do we bring our vision to life in this location? Or, there's always problems. And so this whole project was really inspired actually by this guy, Jacob Owens. He's out in Tempe, Arizona right now, but this guy's amazing. Like he's an independent filmmaker, works with a ton of different artists. He shoots tons of music videos. And so I've been following him for a while, and he's been able to open up different studios, not only in Tempe, but all around the country. And they're all like these amazing warehouses that he's completely converted into these sets. And it's a genius idea. And then just to be able to open that up to the public and really cater to the local film and photography community, which is awesome. And again, in Albuquerque, we don't have anything like that here.
Is he also a filmmaker?
He is.
Okay.
Yeah,
so he utilizes the spaces, I imagine,
correct.
for himself.
Yeah, there he is. His name is Jacob Owens. This guy's, again, he's amazing. He owns all of these film sets. But then he also, he's got this company called Prism Lens Effects, and he builds filters for the front of all your lenses.
So like an ND filter, like
an ND filter, but they're like mist filters. There's nostalgia filters. There's prism filters. There's a bunch of...
He builds those.
Yeah, his company, him and his business partner, they build all these.
So real entrepreneurs.
He's a boss, I'm telling you.
Okay.
And so that was a huge inspiration. But my business partner and I, Brent, we've been wanting our own space for a while because we're always constantly renting out studio spaces. And we're like, gosh, it'd be so nice just to have our own space that we can utilize for our own productions. And so that's kind of what we've been...
And assist other independent filmmakers in their journey. Yeah.
Well, at first, it was more of just, hey, let's just find a space for us because we just need an office to edit,
Sure.
to have a green screen or a white cycle or whatever, just to be able to bring clients in and shoot whatever content they need. And then as we just kept looking and looking and looking, nothing was really coming up in our price range. And then, this warehouse became available, and it was just massive. And I was like, okay, well, Jacob Owens could do it in Arizona. Like, why couldn't we do that?
Sure.
And so, it's pretty cool. Like, I actually know a dude that he used to live in Albuquerque that has since moved out to Tempe, Arizona. So he's actually worked with Jacob a couple of times. And so I reached out to him and was like, hey man, I got all these questions, Jacob, like how did he do this and that, like I would love to talk to him, but I mean, Jacob is insanely busy. So I'm like, yeah, there's no way. Unless I like go out there and try to like hunt him down. But, so I started asking his buddy like, hey, what about this? How did he do that? And he gave me some like input.
Pointers. Yeah,
exactly. And so Brent and we just started like praying about it. Like, is this something that we should do? And, all the right doors opened up, and
then some of them closed.
Some of them closed.
But you went through anyway.
There was
So you had a guy, a celebrity of sorts, who you did work for a period of time, for years.
Yeah.
Had a good relationship with.
I did.
And you presented this studio or this space to him, and a lot of your motivation in doing it, what kind of got you through the door.
Yeah, that was really the big reason why we even pursued this warehouse.
It's because you had some sort of a commitment, or at least a verbal commitment.
Yeah, I had been doing work with this guy for some time, and I loved working with him.
Yeah, cool guy.
Really cool, really cool guy. And he really wanted to pursue like a full-blown show. I'm not going to get into the details of it, but he wanted to, find his own space out in LA because,
that's
just
where he
to build
lives.
yeah, exactly. But the problem is it's LA. It's extremely expensive.
So he was going to fly out.
Yeah. And so the last time I was out there working with him, I pitched him this idea, like, because Brent and I had already been looking at this warehouse, but we're like, how the heck are we going to afford this? How are we going to do this? And so it was still kind of iffy if we were even going to move forward with this whole warehouse idea. And so I was talking to him. I was like, bro, like, you literally have family actually in Albuquerque. How easy would it be for you to come out once a month and shoot all this content? And I can literally produce this entire show of what you're wanting to do and pitch it to all these different networks that he actually has connections with. And he's like, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. Like, I would, we could totally do that. Let's pursue that. Like, I want to entertain this thought. Let's continue talking about it. And so I left that whole weekend like super pumped and excited. I called Brent. I was like, bro, you're not going to believe this. Like, he literally wants to do this entire show out of the warehouse. I was like, we have to move forward with this. We can't shut down this idea. And so that's like really what's really
motivated you to do it.
Yeah. Motivated us to do it.
And created the, capital potential to
correct. Yeah. And we were like, okay, we're going to have consistent income that's going to help us pay and fund all of the equipment that we need for this show. Like, there's a lot of potential with him because he's awesome. Again, like on camera, he's awesome. The content he was doing was incredible. So
very successful guy.
So much opportunity. And so that's what we were doing, is we were pursuing this whole venture. And I would continually ask him like, hey, we're for sure going to do this. Oh yeah. Like, I got my lawyer. He's going to write up a contract. Like, this sounds great, blah, blah, blah. So that's what we did. We pursued this. Like, it even got to the point where I was like, okay, we're so busy just with our regular productions that we do locally. And I was also overseeing the creative video team at, Calvary, our local church here. And so I just had to make the decision, like, I can't do everything. Like, I can't do all of this. And so I'm also not just going to like backtrack on our company that Brent and I built, It's like, well, of course I'm going to pursue that, And so I literally left my position at Calvary to pursue this. And I continually asked this guy, like, are you sure we're going to do this? Because I'm telling you, dude, like, I'm going to completely turn my life around.
Yeah, you're going to really commit to something.
I am having to like convince my wife, oh no, this is going to work out. This is going to be great.
Yeah.
I had to convince my business partner, like, yeah, this is going to be great. And I left my job. That's what I did. And so we started again pursuing this thing, he would tell me, yes, we're doing this. And
Until
then
what, like 2 months ago?
For whatever reason, this is where things got weird. For whatever reason, homeboy just stopped texting me,
Ghosted.
emailing me. Exactly. It just, just like that. And I was like, okay, he's busy. He's traveling, like no big deal. And I would continually ask him, hey bro, can you please send me the contract? Like before we sign the lease to this thing, I need to sign the contract. And then nothing, dude, nothing. Like he would eventually text me back or be like, hey man, I've been busy. I'm sorry. My lawyer's working on it. Like, okay. So I kept having like this thing to hold on to.
Yeah, he's like leading you on.
Exactly. And then it got to the point where it was time to sign the lease. I was like, okay, I got to sign this thing. Like I've already done all this stuff. Like I can't, like, what am I supposed to do? So I signed the lease and then that's where he like really ghosted me. Completely ghosted me.
Oh yeah.
And, I don't know. I still don't know exactly what happened. Like, I don't know if he just got cold feet and didn't know how to tell me. And he knew that he literally influenced me to change my life, quit my job.
Too much pressure. Yeah.
I don't know, dude. Like, I really have no idea. It's the weirdest thing. Tried calling him multiple times, just nothing, dude. And I don't know. I got into such a crazy funk and depression because I literally changed my entire life, and I have a family that I have to support. I have a wife and my business partner. And it was just,
you took the leap of faith.
Yeah, exactly.
He left you out to dry.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the truth. But now we have this warehouse. And, there was a point where Brett and I had to like sit down and have this serious conversation. We literally just went to a brewery one night and we're like, dude, let's just talk 101 and figure this out. Like, are we actually going to do this? And if so, how are we going to make this work? Because so much of it was dependent on this guy and that's not happening anymore. So what are we going to do to make it work? And we both left that conversation feeling really good about it. Like I felt super encouraged because up to that point I was crushed. Like I literally felt like I just completely failed myself and so many people around me. And it was good. Like we just prayed together and we decided to move forward. Yeah. We decided to move forward with it and here we are. So
you kicked a hole in the wall, as I like to say. And I, I'm sure it won't be all like downhill, easy, coasting. Because now, you got a lot of responsibility, a lot of weight on your shoulders. Totally true. But you do well. You're a really good filmmaker. Yeah. You, separate from this endeavor, you'll be able to utilize the space. But I want to encourage you because I actually think that one day you're going to look back and you're like, thanks, dude, for bailing.
Yeah.
Because probably had he not led you on, you wouldn't have signed.
Correct.
And you probably wouldn't have taken the leap of faith.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer that, if you have faith, if you have deep enough desire and grit, you'll make it work.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think you'll make it happen. And yeah, that was a bummer because
it was a bummer, man.
This guy
completely ghosted me, man. And there was one evening I remember where I was like, I told my wife, I was like, I'm just gonna text him and be like, bro, I haven't heard from you in weeks. I don't know what's happening, but at this point, I've already signed the lease, and I have to move forward with it, regardless. So I'm just gonna plan and move forward with you, with the idea of you not being involved. That's all I said. And then he came back, and I feel like that's really what he used. Be like, okay, like yeah, I'm out. Like I'm like fine.
So you gave him a crack.
I gave him a door.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so he did get back to me like right away. It was like, oh, now you text me that quickly, like after all this time. And so yeah, I think he finally just used that to pull himself out of it. And he's like, all right, well, I've already found another videographer in LA and, we're going to just move forward. I was like, but thanks for the opportunity. We can connect down the road. I was like, are you kidding me, dude? Like if you're still wanting to be involved in it, then let's talk about it. I'm just letting you know, I haven't heard from you. So I have to move forward with the idea that you're not involved. Like what else am I supposed to do? So I don't know. Anyways, we're here and it's been great so far. We've been cranking out all these sets. It's been a work in progress. It's a lot of work, a lot of stress, a lot of money, but it's been great. And I have amazing people that are helping with this whole thing. You know, Chorus actually just designing the logo. He designed the entire Bunkhouse logo. You know, Letitia Carlson, she's been helping build all the sets and doing all that good stuff. And, you know, Brent, he's been cranking out, doing all the, you know, behind the scenes stuff with the website and this, you know, making sure that we're good to go with the city and bills and registering the new business and all insurance and all that stuff. So there's a lot.
Yeah.
And he's been holding down the fort with a ton of the editing that we do for our company while I'm over there painting my life away. So yeah, it's been an adventure for sure. So the goal is to completely be done by like the first week of July. That's kind of
with build outs?
With pretty much, I mean, there's always going to be stuff to do, but for being able to open to the public and have people to go in and shoot, that's like my goal is the beginning of July. Because we were asked to participate in the Albuquerque film crawl.
That's different than the 48-hour thing?
Yeah, it's different than the 48. It's pretty much, I honestly don't exactly know what it is, but from what I've heard and the information that I've gathered is it's a, you know, I guess they go in, all these people, I don't know how they even hear about it, but they go, people that are in the industry, local filmmakers or whatever, they come together and they literally go into a trolley and they go to all these different film locations around town that I guess could be used. You know, it's just an asset for the city.
Could be or have been both.
I guess both. You know,
they're just film
I guess they're starting off at a green screen studio. It's called Studio Out West.
Okay. So it's probably like a big sponsorship program or like,
exactly.
You know, hey, market your thing, pay to be a part of the crawl.
Correct. Yeah.
And advertise your spot. Okay.
And so Bunkhouse will be one of the spots that they go to. And so they'll be at Bunkhouse for like 45 minutes or something like that. They'll do a tour, get some more information about it. So that I think it's sometime in early July.
How do you find out about all these things?
Networking, dude. Like seriously, just reaching out to the local film industry. And
I think that's one of your big skills. One of your big strengths is communication, networking.
Yeah. That's just what I love to do is just connecting with people and building relationships with them. And so, yeah, that's been good. I've just over the years, I've built really good relationships with people that are in the local film industry. And so we had like the Albuquerque film office, the lady who runs the Albuquerque film office come out, and just check out the space. I've had a couple of location managers come out and just give some feedback and input, like do this, don't do that. Just in case if there is a big network or pilot that wants to come in and shoot something, you know, just kind of guiding us in that direction. But yeah, it's been good.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So you just did this 48-hour film festival that was happening, Friday? Started Friday?
Yeah, it started Friday. The kickoff was at 7:00.
So tell me what that is, because I had no idea before Saturday, I think is when I first heard about it. Chorus also participated in this.
Yeah, he did.
Gosh, you guys are just... The people in the film industry I was telling Chorus this, they have a really, really good work ethic. There's like this sense of like sacrifice for the cause that it doesn't matter what it takes, stay up all night and get it done.
Yeah.
This is them there.
Yeah, that was fun. So
what are the rules? What is a 48-hour film festival? So
you have to create an entire film from beginning to end in 48 hours, really. So the kickoff event happens at 6:00 on Friday. And then by 7:00, the event
so everybody
starts.
Meets at this at a place.
Every single team, just a representative from the team, goes to this event, and you are randomly given a category. So each team has a different category.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, each team has a different category, but every single team has to include the same prop, a line of dialogue, and a character. So every team gets that, but every team has a different genre.
So you can't come prered.
No,
it's literally everything can't. Start to finish has to happen within that 48 hours.
Yeah, correct.
So they give you your genre. So like thriller, yours was thriller, right?
Thriller, suspense, yeah.
And it could be comedy, it could be romance or something, whatever. And so they give you your category and then they give you your props. Yours was?
An earring. The prop was an earring.
Okay.
The character's name was Damien Poe.
Okay.
And then the line of dialogue was, "There's something missing here."
So this is how they kind of make sure to keep it so that you didn't
Yeah.
prepare it up front.
Exactly.
You're not cheating.
Like, yeah, you could have some general ideas of what you're going to do, but you really don't know. Like, you could get food film. It's like, how do you prepare for a food film,
Yeah.
Or road trip is one of them. It's like, how do you, but then you got drama, you got comedy, you got musical, you got
So this is
thriller. So this is at Bunkhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so right after the kickoff event, we all met at Bunkhouse. Me, Ryan Cook, Brent, Chorus, and Marcos. They're all just good friends of ours that work together all the time. And then we just went out to eat. Yeah, we just went out to eat and we're like, okay, well, what are we going to do?
You wrote up a script.
And then I had all of our actors, everybody that wanted to participate, show up at 9:00 at the Bunkhouse. And we're like, okay, you're going to be this person. You're going to be that person.
And they all know they're going to be working
oh yeah,
hard
all
night.
And they have no idea what they're doing. Like I told them, told them, bring as much wardrobe as you can for all different genres.
They bring their own clothes?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I just told them, just bring options, just in case, because I don't know what we're doing.
So she brought her own robe and all that?
Well, that was after we had written the script. I said, okay, because that was before she had showed up. And I was like, I called her. I was like, hey, make sure you bring a bathrobe because we know what we're going to be doing. At this point, we had already written the script. And so I was like, hey, bring like a good earring that has a good profile on it, but then also bring a bathrobe because you're going to be in a dialogue scene in the bathroom. So we knew about that. But everybody else, I was like, yeah, just bring clothes and we'll figure it out from there. So yeah, it was fun. We started filming probably around 10 p.m. and we filmed till sunrise, honestly.
Really?
The last shot was at sunrise.
Wow.
And then went home, got about 2 hours of sleep, and I woke up because I was super anxious and I was like, I need to start editing it. This is crazy. And so, yeah, started editing it, and I edited literally from like, I don't know, 1 p.m. till midnight that night. So I literally had only slept like 2 hours the entire time. It was terrible. But that's the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
That's what makes it fun.
And so everybody's given the same limitations. You kind of had an added benefit because you could film multiple locations in one location because it's all at the Bunkhouse, which is nice.
Well, yeah, we had this whole entire like ghetto living room that
you
we
built
bashed,
out that week.
Yeah, exactly. We were able to bring a car and bash the window for a scene, and then we literally walked right on the other set on the other side of the wall for the bathroom scene, and then on the other set was the garage set.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fun.
That's awesome. And so when does it do? How does it conclude the whole thing?
So you have 48 hours to do the whole thing. So you have to get the finished product
to them. And then what happens?
By 7:00.
Okay.
So after that, there's 2 weeks for judging. And then the judges make a decision on, who won during that period.
So they send out an email like,
they're going to have a premiere for all of the films in 2 weeks.
And they're all about what? How, like 4 minutes to 7 minutes?
You have to do between 4 to 7 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, within that range.
So it's like a little short film within 4 to 7 minutes. And so you have how many contestants or how many teams?
Gosh, I don't remember the exact number, but I know that this was the most teams that they've had since 2017 or 2018.
Huh.
Do you remember, Chorus, what they said?
I can't remember.
I think it was like 20. It's the most teams since 2017.
There was like 50 groups, right?
Almost, yes, around there. It was like 50 teams. But of course, not everybody makes that deadline, so there was a lot
so some people get disqualified.
Some people get disqualified off the bat because they weren't able to turn their film in within 48 hours.
And some of them maybe turn it in and don't hit some of the rules.
Yeah, they're missing dialogue or props or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then they'll so you might probably end up with like 40 to 30.
Yeah, you have a better chance of winning.
Qualifiers. For sure. And then, so they'll do not a ceremony, but like an event where they watch all of them.
Yeah. So the judges, I believe, I don't know how it works, but I'm pretty sure they watch all the films on their own and they judge it based off certain things. But then all the filmmakers, 2 weeks after, they have a giant premiere of all the films. So everybody comes together and watches everybody's 48-hour film, which is super cool.
Yeah.
Like I'm super excited.
And everyone's local.
Everybody's local.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm pumped to watch everybody else's film. Like I'm excited to see what people did for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then a week after the showings, then that's when the award ceremony is.
Oh, so that's a separate event. Okay.
It's a separate event. Yeah. It's just like an award ceremony with an after party. So yeah, it's pretty sweet. It's
so they
fun.
announce the winners, and there's like one winner, or is there multiple winners?
I think you can win different awards based on different things. Like best directing, best editing,
Okay.
best acting.
It's like the Academy Awards.
Best overall, things like that. And I think if you win overall, then you get placed into another film festival.
Okay.
Filmpalooza, I think it's what it's called. So, yeah.
So you're hoping to do that? That's the goal.
That's the goal. This is my fourth 48 hour.
Oh, wow.
But this is the
consecutive
first one. No, it's
Okay.
But this is the first one where we have actually like led the team and registered our own team, Journey Home Media. All the other 48s, we've just been asked. Well, I've been asked to like, hey, can you do camera or can you do editing or whatever? And they've never won anything. So I'm like, okay, like I just want to, sorry, I just bumped the mic. I just want to register our own team and just do it for ourselves and not have to like be there for another team. You know,
Sure.
It's like, yeah, if we're going to win this thing, I want to win it like under our name. So
Yeah.
we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Okay, this is the giveaway announcement. Thank you guys so much for participating. Those of you who participated, we had about, I don't know, close to 100 people participate. We're now over 100 subscribers on YouTube, which is awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so I wrote on all the names of the people who entered, and I put them on these little pieces of paper here. So I'm just going to pick one at random. The winner of the Thunderbird feather necklace is Justin Smith. Justin Smith. You can focus in. Thank you for entering, Justin. Thank you for participating, subscribing, following along, all that stuff. I will contact you. Congratulations. Okay, next up. The winner of the Thunderbird Concho Cuff is Elizabeth Smith. 2 Smiths? I swear it's not rigged, guys. Elizabeth Smith. I don't actually know if it's right side or not. Congratulations, Elizabeth. I'll reach out. You are now the lucky winner of the Thunderbird Concho Cuff. Okay. Next up, and finally, last but not least, we have the Fox Horseshoe Ring. Okay, who we got? Matthew Penner. Matthew Penner. Thank you for participating, Matthew. I'll reach out to all 3 of you guys and get you guys your gifts. Thank you so much. Bye. Thank you so much for participating in this giveaway. If you didn't win anything this time, don't worry. There'll be more giveaways just like this one in the future. Oh, and don't forget, you can also give us feedback, questions, or topic suggestions to contribute to the show at 505-600-2399. Send us a text or leave a voicemail. You may make it onto one of the episodes. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's get back into the show. Did you hang in there, Course, during the whole 48-hour thing?
Oh, yeah. I was, this year I did. Last year I fell asleep on the sidewalk in front of the courthouse at 5 a.m.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I had the shakes. It was not cool. But this year I think because once we finally get to show everyone the video, it's a pretty quick-paced story. And so we were on our feet right until sunrise. So it was really, really fun.
Awesome.
And again, the nice thing is we were filming something. We didn't have to like travel and wait and like take long breaks. Like we were able to film something like right off the bat. We were on a pretty tight schedule. And
yeah. So the team had good momentum. It's like it's encouraging when you see like content being shot. We're able to review footage. All right, that's great. You get a little dopamine hit. You move on to the next shot. As opposed to waiting for hours, rehearsing lines or driving across town or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, good, man. Good luck.
It's fun.
I hope it goes well.
We'll see.
I remember I don't have any experience within the movie industry or film industry or shows or anything like that. But when I was, I think, probably 20 and I worked at Starbucks, I was on like a last resort, like a last, if I get one more thing against me, I'm out.
Yeah.
But I was a part of a movie as an extra, as a boom op.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to stay because I was a part of a scene. And they're like, you can't leave. Like, you're a part of the scene. We got to keep, we didn't get it yet. So they kept me really late. And and so I stayed out till, I don't know, real late, and then I went home and I went to sleep and I slept past my alarm and I got a phone call from my manager. And I remember, this is the funniest thing to me, because I remember picking up my phone, answering it, and I just was waking up and I was like, oh my. And I said, no, because I was realizing I slept in, and I knew that I was like in trouble, because I knew I couldn't, but, and then I was like, oh crap, she's on the phone. And so I was like, hey, hello. And she's like, yeah, you're supposed to be here. And I was like, oh, I'll be right there. So I went in, I worked my shift, and at the end of the shift, they fired me.
Oh my gosh.
I just, it was
Dude,
probably
they're
for the better.
ruthless, man.
I know.
Those
Movies, but it's weird because the people that work on this movies, I don't understand the drive necessarily. I guess I have it in me too. Like, hey, we got to get this done. There's like this obsessive, this is the mission. We're a team. We're going to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
There's not this like personal, selfish concern when you're on a movie set. It's very much the cause drives everyone to rally.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what's interesting to me about that industry, is that they're very, it's unlike a lot of other industries where people are just kind of like lazy, or they don't really catch the vision. I think with a movie, there's like, for whatever reason, there's an organic motivation to do whatever it takes.
Yeah. So
And you have that, Chorus. You have that same spirit and work ethic.
Yeah. And when I was younger, when I was still trying to figure out my whole filmmaking career, what am I actually going to do in this industry? Like I was pursuing becoming, a director or in the 600, which is the Cinematography Guild, and that's what I was doing for a while, a couple of years, before I was married and all that. And to be honest with you, I hated it. Like I just did not like it.
The hours,
just the hours, and like I loved all the people that I was working with, but I guess just before I was even pursuing that, like I was creating short films my entire life. Like that's all I've ever done. Like I have videos from when I was a kid, just literally using my parents' video camera and just filming whatever the heck I wanted, like hours and hours of content. So that's just always been in my blood is filmmaking. And so when I actually was pursuing to get into the industry, I was just losing that joy and that like passion, because, especially, like for I'm just going to use the cinematography union because that's where I was pursuing. But like you're just on set and you can't even touch the camera, and you can't really do anything. And it takes years to build your way up there. And I just hated that, like I just loved being behind a camera so much. And yes, I know like there's rules and you have to like be patient and make your way up. But I just had I just had like this drive. Like I just want to be able to create my own stuff, It's like, this isn't fun to me. Like there's no passion doing this. And like I was on big sets and I was learning from these people, which don't get me wrong. Like, that portion of it I loved, but long-term, as like a career choice, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like I can't, this isn't fun to me. Like this is not what I want. This is not what I want to do. And it's, when Brooke and I were, my wife, when we were really getting serious, I was like, even on top of this, I was like, I can't pursue this because you were on set for an insanely amount of hours. And like, I want a family someday. And
is that when you moved independent?
That's when I went back to independent, I guess. Yeah. And really stopped pursuing the film industry, the Hollywood film industry, and just doing it independently. And so since then, which was, I don't know, 8 years ago, that's all I've been doing independently. And I can honestly say now I've gotten to a point just in my career where I've just grown so much as a cinematographer and as a director, as an editor, and there's no way I would have been able to get there if I didn't go independently.
Sure.
Like I probably would have just been stuck in the camera department, and that's it. It's like, I don't know. The
way I see it is, the systems are good, and actually admire them very much, because I would love to build one like that. Like specifically how the camera industry works. You got all of these different people all catching the vision, all working grueling hours, all know exactly what they're supposed to do. And then at the end, it comes together and you have an awesome product. To me, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I work alone. I work solo. I do everything, not everything. Chorus is probably the first person I've been able to really jive with and make things with on a consistent basis. But you know, it's always been a real struggle with me. But I think that I admire so much, like even construction or anything that utilizes so many different departments from start to finish, because it's so much. Not one individual department or can do everything.
Yeah.
But eventually, you know, when you work within a system like that, which, you know, it's good because you're learning the system. I think it's probably natural and good to come out of it.
Yeah.
And experience at least independent entrepreneurship or independent filmmaking, independent, whatever it is, freelance, anything. I never had it in me to like stay in it.
Sure. I've just enjoyed it so much more. Like, yeah, you get to work on these films, but I don't know. There was a lot of times where I was working on a film I didn't necessarily want to put my name on. You know?
Yeah, fair enough.
And so you just kind of like, it just becomes a job after a while. And doing it independently is like, I get to choose what artists I get to work with, or I get to choose what companies I get to work with. And, you know, we've been able to do tons of different productions, from commercial productions to music videos, to just promotional videos or whatever, you know. And to me, that's just more fun. Like I get so much more joy out of that. And for Brent and I, like we still want to pursue film. Like that's our goal, is to be able to make feature film some days. And I know that's extremely hard, the independent route. I get that. But I think we're on the right path, and eventually we'll get there. I know it's not going to happen overnight, but eventually I know we'll be able to get there.
Well, every system had to eventually, like Hollywood had to start somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
The major difference is there's a lot of capital there.
Sure. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's a lot harder for sure. And it comes down to finances, but
that's the problem with freelancing and entrepreneurship, is that you have to be really good at your craft, at your skill set. Then you also have to be really good at every other thing that a business, because a business isn't just filmmaking. You know, it's the finances, it's delegation, leadership, it's all these different things that you got to learn to run a proper business. And that's where my mind's at. I'm trying to like accumulate skills to build a team, to build a business, to go far. They say you go far together, you go fast alone. I'd rather go far. I'd rather build something that's big and creates opportunity for other people. But the idea that, you know, to go back to the like a big film set or something that did start somewhere, started with some ambitious person, or some accident like Bunkhouse, you know, where somebody's like, I just got to make something happen. Did I ever tell you that story of the hole in the wall? When I say that, like to kick a hole in the wall, I never told you that.
No,
I don't think I've ever said it on the podcast either. Might as well share it. I use that, and I actually think it's I have an Instagram post about it. But when I was a kid, living at home, my uncle was kind of a construction guy. He was kind of a dreamer. He was the pastor. He was the pastor of the vineyard. He was, you know, cool guy, had a lot of drive, a lot of faith, a lot of entrepreneurial qualities. But my parents wanted to renovate the house. They wanted to do a new kitchen and put a hole in the wall, and kind of. But they had a hard time making the executive decision, like committing to it. And so he says, you guys want to do this? Like, is this something you want to do? And they were like, yeah, but you know, we'll do it eventually. And as soon as he said, as I remember, my parents alluded to that they wanted to do it. He had his back against the wall, and they said, yeah. And he's kicked a hole in the wall. He's like, now you have to do it. And so, you know, what's funny about that actually is that he kicked a hole in the wrong spot. So he had to patch the wall. Not a big deal, but they ended up doing the remodel. They kicked a hole in. He kicked a hole in the wall, and they made it. They committed to having to do it. And so when I say that in your situation, is there's a lot of times when we have to make an overall decision and leap of faith and say, okay, now I got it. back it up.
Yeah.
And I think that we don't believe in ourselves enough. I do think about Kanye a lot in regards to this, like faith and this drive and this sense of confidence. That where did that come from as a little kid in Chicago, but he does. I think he in his music, it's all wrapped up in his, persona is this just drive. But there's something to it. In fact, there's a popular book called Think and Grow Rich. I've actually never read the whole book, but it's like multiple steps on how to become a successful entrepreneur, a successful business person. And the first one is desire. To desire wealth, to desire, whatever it is that you want, to picture it, to desire. And then the next one was to believe, to have faith that you could achieve that.
Yeah. And
I think it's not just like this thing, but to believe that you actually can. It's like in sales. Like if you don't believe in your product, you're not going to be very convincing.
Sure.
But if you can, if you believe in your product, which is really just faith, you have faith in your product, well, you're going to be a better salesman. And likely you're going to be able to translate that product into a sale. I think it's the same with us. And they say success breeds confidence. And so you need, little increments of success and success and success to prove to yourself, to give yourself faith. But there are some I was telling Brie about this. I was like, there's some psychotic people out there that can it's like the craziest people are the most successful people. Somehow, like they're just able to have this like faith that seems to come out of nowhere. That's and sometimes it's like straight ego. It's straight just arrogance and self-conceit or whatever. And I think that's not necessarily what I'm describing or advocating.
Yeah,
but
what are you saying, bro?
But there is something to it, man. Like you've ever met a guy who just has this like energy and this confidence. It translates into like relationships too, of course, but it just exudes like, oh, if he believes in it, I believe in it. Oh, I remember this. There's a weird story. I was crazy. I've been crazy at multiple times in my life, but there was a time when I was converted to the faith, like truthfully, I had this weird like energy, and I would call it like the Holy Spirit. Like I was just recently regenerated. And I remember I'd go around town and I was just so filled with like joy and hope and love and vision. And it was just really palpable. And in my group of friends, I remember saying, we're going to change the world. You guys want to change? Let's change the world. Let's do this. And no real like specifics. But I remember it was kind of like the message, and it was just organic. It wasn't fake. But there was something that happened in that energy, and that's in that relationship that ended up happening. And a bunch of guys ended up gathering around, and we started like a small commune. I say it's a commune. It was just like a community house. We rented a house and all shared a house together. But it was a lesson to me because I had this like weird sense of faith that nobody could deter me from. And because I did, and it was genuine, I think a lot of people were like, yeah, let's be radicals,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's a lot to really pull out of that.
I would be curious to ask you guys. You guys are both content creators, both artists and makers, business owners. Do you guys struggle with, or have you in the past struggled with imposter syndrome? Because I feel like for me, the thing that holds me back from that confidence or from like networking is that self-doubt that I'm not sure I'll ever be able to get over organically. Like, do I have to bluff my way through it? Or how do you get to the point where it just is who you are? You know what I mean?
I think there's a degree of that, like a fake it till you make it type of thing.
Yeah.
Although I don't necessarily believe in faking and lying but I do think that you can have a sense of faith based on prior successes. There's this, the reason I brought up Kanye. In his mind, I've said this I think on the podcast before, is that when he would go in to record a record, he would he'd channel this greatness. He'd have Steve Jobs, Henry Ford. He'd have all of these people who, to him, exemplified just unmatched potential. And he would look at them, and that's who he would envision, and say that, and he would just, meditate on that mentality, and consider he's no different than I am. We're both born of women. We're both entirely fallible, whatever it is. And the truth of it is, when you think about it like that, what separates you from another human being as far as potential? Not much. I mean, you could say IQ, you could say, circumstances of being, raised in certain households, certain places, certain financial situations, certain schooling opportunities, whatever it is. Having 2-parent household, there's a lot of things that could, but I think what's so cool about Kanye in my mind is that he didn't come from a lot of that stuff. Now, he didn't come from, I don't think, in serious poverty, but he came from a 1-parent household. And all that to say, yeah, but again, I think it's success breeds confidence. And so when you have little successes, those build and translate. It's like, I remember my mom, when she sold her first candle, she was like, really? They liked it? Because, in her mind, she was like, I'm not a candle maker yet, because she hadn't made a sale. So that identity wasn't formed yet. Mm-hmm. And so she thought, I'm fake. It's an imposter. But what it was wax, a fragrance, and a wick.
Yeah.
It's literally a candle. She was a candle maker, but in her mind, she needed the success of sales.
Sure.
To give her that sense of confidence, the success to breed that confidence.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a really good example. I feel that's how we are with Bunkhouse right now, because we're not open to the public. Mm-hmm. We don't know how this thing is going to do. I don't even know if I mentioned this earlier, but the whole point is to be able to rent this place out to the local filmmaking community, photography community. But I have no idea how this place is going to be, but a candle is what? Wax and a wick. What's a studio? Just
it's the same exact thing.
A couple walls, some paint, and some props.
Yeah. This is why, and this is where I've been the last couple years in this state of psychology. It's actually kind of been a main topic that's kind of been on the last few episodes, a lot of psychology. But that idea is, so you have a 10,000 square foot studio.
Yeah.
And you have a bunch of different sets that are going to eventually be built out. What is separating you from Jacob, right? You have a high degree of respect for him. He's become successful. Now, of course, he didn't achieve that just, I would assume, just inherited this type of success. So some people do.
Yeah.
There's a reason, there's a mentality, there's a process, a drive, all of those different things. And so, but at some point, some people, I have noticed this. When I was in Nashville, there was a lot of, I hate the word privilege because it seems like a dig. I actually see privilege as God bless you. Somebody, your dad, your forefathers, what the people in your family have invested and been responsible and given you awesome things. But there's people that I met, a lot of people in Nashville. A lot of them were funded by their families to be there and to pursue these dreams and to pursue these things. A lot of them, I felt like I was kind of the odd one out. Not that I was super special, in any that is special in any way. But I didn't have some of the same benefits that some of them did. I actually saw that as a positive. But there was all that I'm saying in that is that there's some people have the added benefit of a parent or someone speaking life over them and saying, you can do this.
Yeah.
And that kind of answers your question, right?
I think so, yeah.
Is that even if you don't have the success yet, to have the encouragement, to have that tribe of people that's behind you saying, you can do this. I know you can do it. I believe in you. And the opposite is also true. You're a failure. You're never going to amount to anything. You suck. You don't know how to do this. You don't know how to manage money. You've never done this before. That's not us. Those types of things. It's the power of life and death is on the tongue. But I really, really believe, and I'm a product of positive words, and maybe by God's blessing and grace, I've been able to kind of tune out the negative stuff, because I've also gotten some of that over the years. And I think it's important to believe, this is where faith comes in, but also to believe this is the mental battle, the spiritual battle that we all engage in our own lives, whether you're an entrepreneur or creator, whatever. In our own lives, always, who will you listen to? What will you believe about yourself, about the world, about Jesus, about everything? That's your decision, because we're all hearing things constantly, and we make the decisions internally which voices to believe, who to listen to, voluntarily and involuntarily. Today was a hard day, in a sense, because there's a lot of feelings, a lot of negotiations. Jordee and I are in the middle of working out a podcast studio in Bunkhouse. But that's also hinged upon a bunch of other negotiations and other fall throughs and the domino effect. And this is actually funny, ties in perfectly, because I was thinking about this, so did you. The dominoes, so there was a fall through in, so we're working on a deal. Hopefully it works out here at Towns, where we're going to merge or do a collaborative space here, where we're going to bring in another business, a friend of ours. And this friend, we're working it out because it's hopefully will benefit both businesses by lowering overhead costs. But this friend is, she had someone fall through on her in the business. She was about to sell the business and all these different things. And that was going to then fall through to other different things. And it was going to create a domino effect to where things weren't going to work out continually. So I wouldn't be able to move and afford, a separate space. And so anyways, all this different stuff. So it was a conscious effort in my mind today to say, no, we need to buckle down. We need to collaborate. We need to get creative. We need to change our attitudes. But it's an internal battle that happens almost on a day-to-day, absolutely on a day-to-day basis, whether or not it's a big thing or a small thing. But that's what makes a successful person and a not successful person, a faithful person and a not faithful person. And I think that however much that involves business, we talked about it on one of our episodes before, a strong mentality. Actually, I'm going to praise a friend. I have a buddy, Daisy May.
I don't. Daisy May?
Gage. Yeah, he's got a hat company. So he's a former local, but he's in Nashville right now. In fact,
yeah, I don't know who that is.
I'm selling jewelry out of his shop right now, but he had a real big bummer situation happen. Gage Spees. He makes hats. He used to make hats formerly under the name Daisy May and Daisy May Hat Co. But he got news that he's getting sued. Cease and desist. Apparently he was using Daisy May. He wasn't legally allowed to use it, so he had to change his brand name.
Wow.
All these different things. But I sent it to Bree, and I was like, wow, I love this guy's attitude. And I encouraged him too, But he was like, not going to cry about it, changing my name, just announced it. And he did a further thing about it. But I was like, good job, dude. Just like taking that one on the chin and moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that would like totally cause someone else major, put him on a detour, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's just like, no, going forward. He actually just did a similar thing to you, where he's like, I'm going in on space in downtown Nashville. And he's got this like, he's awesome. He's got that sense of confidence and like this drive. And I'm like, heck yeah, dude. And it's a big overhead, it's a big risk. But he's going to make it happen.
Yeah.
You're going to make it happen.
We'll make it happen, man. Like me and Brent, we had that night of, are we actually going to do this? But it really just comes down to like, is this something that Jesus wants us to pursue? And if we both felt like yes, It is. And so having that faith mentality is huge, otherwise I don't know if we would have been able to do it without that. But he's just been able to continuously open up doors, and close doors, including that one that we had just talked about, closing that door. And who knows, it sounded great in the moment, but we don't know where that would have led, and where we would have been a year from now. I have no idea, but we just have to trust God and believe that was the best decision.
Yeah.
That door was shut for reasons that we don't know. It probably will never know, but it happened.
Oh, you might.
Maybe, potentially, yeah. But I know that God used that situation.
You're going to succeed
to push us,
and you're going to look back, and you're going to say, "Thank you, Sky, who encouraged me to do this. God bless you. I hope the best for you." But you're going to say, "Wow, thank you, God.
Yeah,
I didn't understand what was going on then.
Yeah, but now we do."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll take some faith. It'll take some hard work. It'll take some grit, determination. It'll take others to encourage you, But you're going to do good, man.
Yeah.
I believe in it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
I believe in you.
Thank you for your friendship. Definitely.
Yeah.
And Mr. Chorus over there.
Well,
my butt is killing me right now.
Your buns?
My buns.
Well, thanks.
I don't have a butt, dude. So my just bones right now, just sitting on.
You're sitting on a bad one. It's for those that don't know, Jordee's actually quite a bit taller than me, but he's sitting on a shorter stool
to fit
in frame.
There's no cushion. So it's been an hour, 40 minutes?
Yeah, probably.
Poor butt, dude.
All right. Thank you for coming on, man. Is there anything you want to plug?
Yeah, if you're local and if you are a photographer or filmmaker, Bunkhouse will be open sometime in July. Hopefully beginning in July, but it'll be rentable on an hourly basis, and you can create whatever you want in there, really.
Cool.
So, yeah.
And for video work, you open for that too?
Yeah, totally. So
whether or not you're local?
Yeah, exactly. Brett and I own a whole production company, Journey Home Media. And so we do commercials, music videos, pretty much anything video, animation, motion graphics. Yeah.
Cool.
So let us know.
Well, thanks for coming on.
Of course. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Love you. Bye.